how do you write a good URS? What should it contain?
Well, I think it's about understanding, like, for example, you mentioned fluids. So product formats, if you've got a very large fluid format, so let's say it's a litre of product that's being sterilised, the question then would be, how can we make sure that that cycle doesn't last for sort of 8 or 9 hours? And if we can reduce that cycle time, but still maintain that sterilisation efficiency, so we can have the same level of kill, but a shorter time frame on the cycle, then it's perhaps not a quality issue, but we can increase productivity of that machine. So once you've purchased that autoclave, it's very difficult to retrofit some of the cooling cycles, for example, that might help cool that load. Because a lot of the cycle time is taken up with not heating it up, but bringing it back to a safe temperature so you can open the autoclave. So we would want to look at that stage at what kind of additional capability can we add to the machine to allow those loads to cool faster. So that might involve spending extra money at the startup phase, but that could save you weeks over a year in production timelines that you would lose for having a very long cycle. So it's a mixture of anticipating exactly what it's going to be used for and how we can help reduce sort of timelines, how we can help reduce the potential for failures by improving various aspects. So for fluids loads, that's often the cooling phase. So the heat up phase is normally quite good. But for porous loads, that could be the air removal phase. So if we have a complex load with lots of thin bore tubing, or we have a tool can that might fit onto an isolator, for example, they need to remove air from that load that's kept within inside a tool can that might go through a 0.2 micron filter. So we need to start thinking then about the vacuum pump that we're using. We need to think about how we can control the rate at which vacuum pulses happen on the autoclave. We need to think about how we're going to remove any excess moisture, about how we can keep heat within the load during the cooling phase to flash off any potential residual moisture at the end of the cycle. So there's quite a few complex issues that can be addressed with a good URS at the very front. So that would be looking at vacuum pulses, at any additional drying cycle that we can add, any overpressure. So that might be putting additional services onto the autoclave, like hot air or compressed air. It might be having cooling water to the autoclave, just to enable us to cool loads, to remove air, and to dry loads. So it's something that's very difficult to retrofit. So we can do that at the URS stage because we can anticipate it, I think.
Right.